All right. Hello. Hello. I have Mandy Wrazen with us. Hi, Mandy.
Hi.
All right. So Mandy is here to discuss her journey with mindset work. What brought her to mindset work? How has it impacted her life? What has it been like to work with me over this past year? Because we are coming up on our 12-month, I was almost going to say 12-year anniversary, 12-month anniversary, but I feel like I've known you for like so long. I don't know. There's some other
I
connection.
know. I know.
Like we get each
I
other on
know.
some other
From the
level,
very beginning. From the very
right?
beginning.
I
Yes.
know. It's crazy. I love it. I love it when that happens. Okay. So without further ado, can you share a little bit about your story? Even a little history of dieting, your body, food issues, and what brought you to the roadmap to food freedom. That's where you had stumbled upon my
Mhm.
YouTube video last
Mhm.
year, and what made you decide, like, or figure out, okay, mindset is the thing, and that's the next thing I need to address.
Okay. Well, say when I first started hitting puberty, I mean puberty, I was a very thin girl. I was like a string bean, I was athletic. Um, and I never had any issues or thought about my body ever. I just thought it was a thing to use and run around with, and I always wanted to be strong and have fun and play. And I just like I never thought of it as anything that needed to be changed or altered or anything like that. Well, when I started to hit puberty, I got boobs. And as you can see, I am boobalicious. And I've got a butt and I've got boobs and I'm curvy. And that's basically who I've been since I hit puberty. And in the 90s, that wasn't what you wanted to be. In the 90s, we had very thin, like tiny, tiny actresses who were like the I can see them in like Ally McBeal, the girl with
Kate
the curly
Moss,
hair,
right? Like Kate
Kate
Moss.
Moss,
Yep. That
um,
whole waif look. That was.
Felicity.
Mhm,
Felicity, remember Felicity? Everybody was so skinny.
mhm.
And I wanted to be skinny and skinny, skinny, skinny. And I remember I started to just look at my friends who were thin and string beans and wish I could be like them. Um, I was still athletic and I was still strong. I was on track, softball, all that, but I never really liked my body. One of the benefits of kids now, I mean, I walk around, I see the teenagers now and they have such a different respect for their body and they have so many better, you know, curvy models and things that we never had in the 90s and even early 2000s. So that was what I wanted. I wanted to be thin because that to me meant beauty. And the number one thing I wanted to be was pretty and loved and all that. I mean, in a nutshell, there's lots of things I could say about it, but um, a lot of that happened. So into my 20s, I was on hydroxycut, then aspartame got shelved, but I lost a lot of weight and I didn't eat. Like I didn't eat for a long time. That was like my early 20s, and I was probably the thinnest I'd ever been. And then I stopped taking that, and I was on Atkins for a while. Atkins worked until I started passing out at work because my sugar level would messed up. And then I had Harrison in my mid 20s, my son, and I lost a bunch of weight after that on Atkins, and never anything, always a diet, always a very strict, crazy diet, and never anything that really taught me why I was eating or like what was right to eat. I did Weight Watchers for a while, which was, counting the points and everything. And I lost weight that way. But then as soon as I stopped counting points, I gained weight again, always yo-yo dieting. Um, Now I'm like 40. So a very important part of my story is that I'm an alcoholic and I got sober in on March 24th, 2014. And so it's year 9.5 years. And when I started working with Dana, I was about 8.5 years sober. So I worked the steps, I've done all that. And I know because of working the steps that it's not just about putting down the drink. You know, when you're an alcoholic or you're an addict of any kind, you put down the drink, you put down the drug, but then what? You have steps you have to take. You have to introspect. You have to make some changes in the way you deal with life. So I'm like, I don't have the drink anymore. So what am I going to do to fill that void? And I came to realize recently, within the last maybe 2 years, even before I met Dana, that food was my crutch. I went to parties where everyone was drinking. I sat the dip. And my sponsor would say, girl, don't worry about it. Right now, you're staying sober. If you gain a few pounds, you're sober and you're putting your life back together. So then, and it's true. I mean, at that time, I could not have possibly tackled this at that time. At that time, I was focusing on just how do I wake up in the morning and not drink. So after 8 years of sobriety, I really was ready to go, okay, so the drinking thing, but then like I know that I'm eating as a substitute and I'm ready to focus on like, why am I eating when I know I'm not supposed to eat this? Or why am I binging this? Why am I binging that? So that's what really got me to the place where I was like ready to say, okay, there's more to this eating thing than just counting calories, working out so many times a day. I know that, but I didn't know how or what or whatever. Like I'm like, how I know there's something, but how do I do it? How do I figure that out? And then one crazy day, and I mean, I'm a spiritual person, so yes, I was praying and I was asking God to help me figure this out. One day I am in my office and I'm looking through YouTube videos, and Dana's first day was live on YouTube of Roadmap to Food Freedom. I wasn't looking for it. I wasn't like, this is choking me up. I wasn't looking for it. I wasn't. It was just there. And I think like back when I was doing some stuff like I love cycling. And if I missed a class, you could still use like your class, and I would like put my earbuds in and do it on my bike at the gym. And I think that's how I ended up following you originally. But then with that Roadmap to Food Freedom, I was listening and I was like, everything you were saying sounded exactly like what I was looking for. And I just like printed it off, and like I didn't register for it originally. I didn't see it originally on Facebook or anything. I didn't have any friends who were doing it. It was literally on my YouTube out of nowhere. And that's like magic to me. And Dana and I always talk about how creepy it is because I ended up connecting with it, loving it, doing the whole week. I was like floating on air because I was like, somebody finally understands what I'm talking about. Like somebody's actually telling me what I need to hear about this part of my journey in life. And I was like, oh. So I definitely was like hooked because I mean, just like when I went to my first AA meeting 9 years ago, when I walked in and they started talking about my story, I heard people say things that I've not, that sober people or normal people who don't have addictions, they said things that I understood. And then when I went to Dana's Food Freedom, you were saying things that I understood that like nobody else was talking about. When I was looking for help with my food problem, my food crutch, I was always just told calories and exercise and schedules and all the things. And I'm like, but that doesn't work. It has yet to work for me. So that's how I got to you. That was a nice long story, but that was how I got
I
here.
love your story. I love your story. And I hopefully along the way you've come to also appreciate like how you got to where you are now. And I know when we go through really difficult things in our life, like even what brought you to drink and drinking for that long and everything you had to overcome and the making peace in your life with those decisions about, the results from that, that can be really difficult to look at. And the same can happen with food. There's this really heavy underlying vibe of shame. And the thing with eating and binge eating, it can just keep the shame in place. So that's something that, we are able to work through. Like, I hold the space for you to work through some of these harder things that, if you know that the feelings are still there, they're residual, I don't quite know what to do with them. So then we'll look to the next thing to cope. And whether that's food or the shopping or the gambling or the scrolling or, some other way to numb out. But you do get to a point that in your soul and the spiritual part of you knows you're meant for more, knows that you're meant for more. And I just believe that that's what connected us. That's what it was like even my soul of I want, my intention when I do any of those roadmap events or anytime I put anything out there, I'm really like, God, please connect me. Let my message be heard by the woman who's hurting right now and who really needs the help and who's been looking for something, but has been looking in all the same places again and again. But it's like, my program is so different, and what I have to offer and what I have to say and how to work through the material is so different. So I absolutely believe in that divine intervention that brought us together that day.
Oh yeah.
And
There's no other explanation.
Yeah, no other explanation. Exactly. And that's why I say, like, the mindset course itself doesn't touch too much on spirituality, but what we will do is, even when we do our one-to-one calls or even sometimes in our group, we will thread it in, because it doesn't really matter what background you have as far as religion is concerned or spirituality. But it is something that's a very unique part of your own journey for you to discover. So I think that's also what brought Mandy and I together so quickly, because we have some sort of other divine spiritual connection that is beyond both of us to really completely comprehend. But all I do know is that, and I will say this again and again, I just show up authentically as me. And then I just trust whoever is out there is like, that's a cool chick. I hear what she has to say and I want to hang out with her. And then that's kind of how it works, and then, we're kind of speaking each other's language, dropping F-bombs in the whole nine, right?
Yeah.
Yes. And so Mandy decided, like, in a pretty short period of time, because even if you did follow me on YouTube, okay, you're a little familiar with my teaching style, but that was more spinning. That was like the fitness, right?
I did not know you from like the Freedom Fridays. Didn't know that at all.
Yeah.
Didn't know that at all.
So, but here's the thing that I want anyone who is watching this to really understand about your own journey. You're not ready until you're ready. And as much as, like, you want to force the answer and it's like really being present to where you are, accepting where you are, and then being open to the next step. I feel like that's constantly the practice. And the difference was Mandy was genuinely open to the next step. And so here I have this thing to offer, and she was so ready for it. So when you ended up enrolling in the mentorship, it was like, I don't even know if the roadmap to food freedom was over yet. You were like, sign me up. I love a woman who knows what she wants. And you stayed committed to the work. So tell me about what it was you got from doing the work. Because I think that there is some belief that, like, oh, well, it's going to work for her, it won't work for me, or some sort of magic. And there's something in just showing up to do the work that it unlocks some answers that you don't always necessarily know what you're going to find. So what are a few things that what was unlocked for you? What did you discover? What's the biggest impact it's had on your life up to this point in your journey?
Well, the first thing that I realized, and it wasn't even until it was probably day 2 of the roadmap to food freedom, that I realized that I binge everything I do. Everything I do is a binge. Eating, cleaning, working, being a wife, being a mother, everything I do is a binge. And that I realized from the cleaning. You had given us the job or the homework to take something for 15 minutes and clean it and just organize it and see what that does. The next day you said, so how did everybody do? And then you said, like, think about, like, how it went. What did you get? And I'm like, I cleaned my entire floor. I did not take 15 minutes. I took that ran with it because I'm a binger. And when you said, well, what, and then you started to like put some questions out there of like, okay, so what did this say about you? And I'm like, oh my God, I binge everything. I binge cleaned last night because, and I mean, I'm not just saying like, oh, what I end up realizing about myself is that I'll give myself something like say Thursday is cleaning day and whatever, and I'll have like a list of things that I want to get done. I'll say I will not eat, sleep, pee. I won't stop. And I mean, I really have to like run to the bathroom to pee until I'm done. Like I will get it all done. Boom, boom, boom. And I was like, it never dawned on me. I just thought I have my motivation now. I'm going to get it done while I'm motivated. And I don't want to stop because if I stop, it means I won't do it again because I know that I'm lazy and I'm never going to get it done. So I better do it right now. That was like day 2 when you had those questions about what you learned about yourself from cleaning for 15 minutes. And I'm like, I didn't even do it right. But it was like a huge aha moment because I was like, I binged that. And then I started thinking about all the other things that I do like that and how I don't give myself a break because I want to hurry up and get it all done right now, quick. That was one thing that like I realized, and it was like a huge opener. And then when we started the modules, that just kind of built on that of, taking your time and all of the things. I wanted to finish all 12 modules as quickly as possible. And oh my gosh, she only gives me a module every 2 weeks. Wait a second. I have to be done with this. So like it really
I know I'm so
me.
mean, aren't I? I'm so mean. I drop the module every 2 weeks. I don't like just boom, like you open Netflix and you're like, oh, the whole series there. I'm just gonna watch the whole thing. You're like, well, not the mindset course. Every 2 weeks you get a new module because I am very well aware of what Mandy's sharing. That if you are a binger, a binge eater, binge drinker, binger, then these are patterns showing up everywhere. But herein lies one of the biggest lessons in your life is to slow down and consume more consciously. So
that was a big one.
Mandy.
I mean, that started before the modules. Also, learning to enjoy exercise and what that means, what exercise and moving. And I don't remember exactly where it was because it's been a year, but at some point I realized that I used to love, like before I went, I was talking about how I was a tomboy, I played softball, I was a runner. I loved all that stuff. I love playing. So I started calling exercise recess, and I have it still on my schedule as recess. That recess is Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays with Dana. But also if it's a beautiful day today, and I don't have to go to recess with Dana in order for it to be exercise. I don't have to pull. I don't have to, like, all of that mindset was huge for me, and going, oh my gosh, I can check off the box and say, Mandy, you are doing stuff. Going for a walk with your dog because it's beautiful and it makes you happy is exercise, and it is good for you.
And it counts. It's like what all of a sudden it doesn't count because it's not your traditional, like I'm not lifting or whatever those rules are, your fitness rules that you set for yourself. And so I love this because you actually discovered the recess thing. I feel like it was fairly early on. Reframe that. And that was like you had more freedom about your attitude about exercise from that point forward. And I mean, see, you're talking about it now, and I want to say that was easily like 8 months ago. So anyone who's listening who's like, I'm afraid of not being consistent, what we do is reframe your belief about your body and exercise and movement and what that means. And, and the fact that I see Mandy, even she'll message me and say, hey, I'm not going to make it to the workout today, but it's beautiful and I'm going hiking. Like, you fill yourself with joy and don't paint yourself into some box because so I'm gonna lift and I'm be consistent with lifting, but it's a beautiful time of year, or you feel like, you know what, my soul's really calling being with my dogs or going to walk with my husband or meeting a friend. Let that be part of your entire body nourishment, the movement, everything. And you, I have to say, like, you learned that early on and really adopted it, like embodied it. And that's
Mhm.
amazing.
Yes. Yes. And I actually say I have like, I'm gonna go on to like the next thing that I did that is in like integral in my life on a daily basis now, that I start my day with my perfect day. You know, the everything that we part of our modules is figuring out what we want and kind of putting it into the perfect day scenario. And so I start my day every morning. I read that, and it kind of helps me frame my day in how I want it. So one of the things is that I have recess every day in some way, shape, or form. Is it cleaning? Is it walking the dog? Or is it with Dana? And it's always on my day. So if it's like 5 o'clock and I haven't done anything recess, I'm like, Mandy, you need it for you. You need to get outside. You need to get away from the computer. You need to get out of your office. It's not for calories or because I'm a shit if I don't, because that's definitely the mindset I had, is that, oh my God, I haven't been to the gym in months. Oh my God, I suck. But like all summer long, all I do is hike and hang outside. I love it. It's my favorite. And so if it's like I said, 5 o'clock, I'll be like, after dinner, let's go for a walk, even if it's just around the block, because I need to get some fresh air. And so does Alex, because Alex is my best motivator, my dog. Because I'm like, man, we need to get outside, girl. You know, we need to get going and breathe a little fresh air.
Yeah.
And that, and at the end of the day, I put my head on the, and I say, you know, did I move my body? Like, especially like something like cleaning the house. I used to like clean the house, have like a cleaning day or something, and then be exhausted because it's a lot of work sometimes if you're getting up and down the stairs and all that, and then say, "What? I'm such a schmuck. I didn't go to the gym today." Like, why would I say that about myself? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm so I just don't. I can't. I can't emphasize enough on how much my mindset has changed. Uh, food, you know, and all that. So I mean, exercise in particular has been the first really important part of it for me, is reframing what exercise is, recess, and all that. So
So
what have I said so far?
is it fair to say that, like, because I hear this so often, it's a concern in the beginning, but I'm afraid it's not going to last. Like, I'm
Mm,
afraid that I'm going to make these changes and I'm going to go right back. So I do try, you'll hear me emphasize, once you know, you can't unknow. So can you see how, like, now that you are here months later, like, there's a certain part within you that craves movement, but because it's not attached to body image or self-esteem or calories or shoulds or any of that, there's a craving inside that
mhm.
you want to move, and you almost feel like at the end of the day, like, am I not honoring myself because I don't move? Now, do you see yourself going back on that or reneging on that behavior at all?
No, no, because it's completely different. It's like you said, it's a different mind frame. It's a different mindset. It's a different perspective. In AA, we talk a lot about perspective and how like you can, even like a gratitude list is something that I think a lot of people know about how AA, we talk about gratitude a lot, and just being like, instead of feeling sorry for yourself because you're not blah blah blah, gratitude. And like this is a different mindset. Um I go to my I look at my day and I see it differently, completely differently, and I can't change that because it's like the veil
Yeah.
has been lifted and I see the world different.
Yes. 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 So
It's
I
just
mean,
like that. It's like, and
yeah.
it sounds so culty. I'm not in a cult. I'm in the Dana Lee. I love you, Dana Lee. But like, it's like,
I-
it's like the veil has been lifted and I see the world differently for diet culture and what diet culture has done to me. They worked their butt off to try and convince me that I needed them. I needed them to tell me how to live my life. And now that I see that it's all BS, I'm like, oh, I just need to feel good. I just want to feel good. I want to eat right because I want to feel good. I want to walk because I want to feel good. And my body is my body is part of my day. It
Yeah.
doesn't define whether or not I'm a good person, which was really, I think I hear it all the time from my friends about how if they don't lose, like, I was just talking to my uncle the other day. He's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "No, this makes me really mad," because he was telling me my uncle's 60 years old, a great man, and he was talking about how his watch is going to tell him that he doesn't walk enough today. And I'm like,
I
well,
know.
you sat here and we had an awesome conversation and we laughed and because it was like my niece's birthday party or something. No, I don't remember what it was, but it was a picnic. We're all sitting around laughing, having a good time. He was drinking good wine he had made. He shared all of his wine that he had made with everybody. We were all so happy to be together. And you know what popped into his head was that he didn't walk enough that day. I'm
The
like,
watch tells me, see, yeah, right. Like that now I know, isn't it interesting? This is not even a year of our work together, Mandy. And it's like, this stuff is going to stay with you forever. And now you're like really legitimately like, I am wiser than that watch. And now it's
yes,
on everyone to feel that sense of wisdom, even my uncle, even, you know,
yes,
like whoever it is, it's like you have the wisdom inside you, and that the joy and the laughter of this moment supersedes the number of steps that you're taking. It matters. That stuff matters.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, like if you're thinking about it in calorie sense too, like if that makes sense to you, like don't you think our laughter burned calories? Don't you think our
Yeah.
laughter was like all that pheromones that you need
Yeah.
from walking? All of
Yeah.
that happened and we were sitting on our butts. And it was freaking great. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh, I sat here all day, so I guess I'm not gonna be like, but I go, so what if you do? And this is a funny thing too, because I'm just like, now I'm that crazy person who talks about it. Like, if you bring it up, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Like, so then if you walked enough today, your phone tells you you're good. And he's like, it does. I'm like, and then when you wake up tomorrow morning, does it tell you you have to start all over again? He's like, yeah. I'm like, that's terrible. That's just terrible.
You're like, that does not sound fun. That does not sound fun to me.
It's like an abusive relationship.
Yeah.
That is an abusive relationship. I'm so bad
Seriously.
if you start over again. Put your
And
feet
back
on the
to
ground and start
zero.
walking.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So is there anything else that has impacted you that you think is worth acknowledging, pulling out, that you feel proud of yourself for?
Well, this is actually goes along with what I was well, I said the perfect world, the perfect morning, and how I had like a whole um idea from different YouTubers about the right amount of like sleep. That was a big one for me. It was a big realization that like I need more sleep than say my husband. My husband sleeps just kind of like going through like different processes of the module. I realized that like I don't have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning like a lot of influencers say. Like successful people get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and they do X, Y, and Z before 9. And I'm like, okay, well then I've tried to do that and it never works because I'm just not that person. And realizing that that's okay, that I need X amount of hours. And if I don't get up at 8 o'clock in the morning, I get up at 8:30, 9 o'clock, 9:30, 10. It's because my body needed that sleep. My body would not keep sleeping if I didn't need the sleep. So it's like trusting my body to do the things that are necessary. And just figuring out, weeding through the BS of what I think I'm supposed to do as opposed to what my body tells me I need to do. And one other really important one that I learned even more recently is the distractions thing. I wanted to make sure that I say, like, one of the ones that I'm working on now that's really forefront for me is that I'm trying to get used to just like sitting still and relaxing and being in my own skin and doing things slowly, because I am a go, 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 go kind of person. Again, a binge, just slowing down. Even like now that I know it, I can't unknow it, like you said, but also um seeing it as it happens, as opposed to going, oh my gosh, I just binged cleaning the house, and saying, okay, I have a list of things I'm gonna do to clean the house. And if I don't get them done by 4 o'clock, that's okay. We're gonna stop and we're gonna make dinner.
Mhm.
This is so, it's like probably be like the craziest thing for some people to hear, but like for me, I would clean and I'd be like, we're ordering pizza because I got to clean. And that wouldn't nourish my body because I'm eating something fast foody and not because it's bad food, because I love pizza and I'll eat pizza if I want to eat pizza, but like after
Mm.
working out all day after cleaning all day long, I should have something nourishing to fill my body. So I should take a break, focus on that part of my life and clean another day, get to the other things, and just like those little things that like just they seemed part of just this is America. You know what I mean? We're taught we're supposed to keep go, 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 and there's fast
Yeah.
food for a reason because we have
Yep.
to hurry up and do everything as fast as possible.
Hustle,
But this
hustle,
is something
hustle,
I'm
get it
really, yeah,
done. We're always awarded for
yeah,
our like being an accomplished person. When you meet somebody, oh, what do you do for a living? It's all about doing, 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 and it's
yeah.
exhausting and it's not fulfilling. So that's part of breaking those habits of realizing how much you get pulled into that. And I love that now we're at that point in this juncture of our work together and that Mandy's continuing and we get to talk one-on-one at least once a month. And I love
Mm-hmm.
that because now we can really get into it. And,
Mm-hmm.
it really is, it's important to draw the parallels of what you do with your food behaviors is also showing up in other areas of your life. So what Mandy's sharing here is that she's seeing, oh, look at me hustling and rushing and just I'm like gotta stay busy, busy, busy in all these other areas. But if we can start to take a look at, well, what is that busyness about? What am I trying to avoid? And really getting into the feelings that are so uncomfortable, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's less of going to the food. I mean, I love that you even use that example of cleaning and then just ordering pizza. If you address your day differently and say, okay, I'm going to clean and do the best I can, but here's my cutoff time because now I'm understanding how to manage my energy better, not just physical
Right.
energy, but what we do talk about in one of our modules for emotions is that each emotion is connected to a level of energy as well. So if we get really tired and it actually pulls us energetically and our emotions down, we can get tired, frustrated, irritated, easier, right? So if you understand how to manage your energy, it's also going to put you in a better state of mind to choose wiser food for your body. So
Mm-hmm.
this is the point, and I think this is, I'm really excited that you're getting here in this work, and it's something to be proud of because it is the deeper layer stuff, but you're ready. So,
Mm-hmm.
like you were asking me about it, I'm like, oh, I'm so glad we're talking about this now. We are ready. We're
Yeah.
ready. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. And yeah, just slowing down. One of the homeworks that Dana had given me was to go to Walmart and go shopping and take my time. I was there for 2 hours. My peas were defrosting.
Okay, in the future, hit the frozen aisle last. Note
But
to self.
I was like, oh, look at all the things at Walmart. It was so funny because I was like, I usually have a list and I
Yeah.
go in and when I walked in the door, I was like, I already had that that adrenaline, like, let's get this done. And I was like, okay, no, break, break, break. What are we gonna do? It was 2 hours. Like people are gonna think I'm crazy because I'm talking to myself. I go, okay. But that's where I am
However,
today. So like,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, all of these things, like I was trying to, I hope it all wrapped up well because I was really trying to like say like, it got me to a place where like, I'm ready to slow down even when I'm thinking about food, which like, you think like, wait a second, this is food freedom. This is mindset work for food. And it's not, it's like everything else first. And it was like slowing down for that, slowing down for the next right thing, slowing down for the next answer to the question that made me here. When I leave an AA meeting, I used to go right to the store and get cookies and I didn't even think about it. I went right to the store and got cookies and went home and ate cookies and milk. And it was almost like without even thinking. And then I realized that like, oh, I always feel very like I've dumped everything at the meeting and I could really use a cookie just to like shove in my mouth. And now I don't do that anymore because I want to just kind of sit with my feelings about the meeting and all the things that we talked about. And it's just interesting how food has really popped up in a bunch of different ways, but also I want to slowly go into it. I don't want to like say, okay, we're not eating cookies after the meeting, but not just because they're bad. Cookies have a lot of calories or they're empty calories or any of that shit. It's
No.
because they're not, it's not filling me in any really fun way. It's just filling me up I'm because I was just emotional. Emotions in general were
Yeah.
happening during the meeting.
Vulnerability in a meeting like that, I've heard Brene
Yes.
Brown call it a vulnerability hangover. When you're very honest and you pour your heart out like that, it leaves a very residual uncomfortable feeling. And I wouldn't be surprised then if the automatic thing is, well, I'm seeking comfort. I don't know how to comfort myself. I'm patting myself on the back. Good job. I shared the things I need to do to get through and keep my sobriety in check.
Mhm.
And it's still very hard and I don't know how to handle it. So let me go eat
Mhm.
these cookies. Meanwhile, the cookies aren't necessarily even something you want. It's just a habit and on
Right.
autopilot. So
Right.
now the work is, well, let me understand this and it's okay for me to be vulnerable and it's okay for me to feel uncomfortable and then realizing after the fact, like, I don't even want them. Like
Yeah.
literally losing your taste for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it doesn't get old, and no, you will not get over it. You will not say,
Yeah.
oh no, I just this, no, it and take it from me, somebody who has yo-yo dieted and gone through and everything you could possibly think of. And I had that, like, I didn't trust myself. I think a
Yeah.
lot of people don't trust themselves because they've proved themselves right in the fact that I never do it, I never follow through, I always mess up, blah blah blah. Because we have that diet culture with the whole there's a goal, you're supposed to lose weight, da, 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 da.
Yeah.
That's not part of our work with you.
Yeah, and so I mean, we talk about the slowing down even through the roadmap to food freedom, but can you see how like, you're here 12 months later to share how far you've come, but part of it is the slowing down and that's made the magic happen and unfold in your life. Whereas we could
Mm-hmm.
have taken another 12 months of your past and nothing progressed with the food situation ever. Because it's
No.
always the same approach. Hurry, rush, rush, rush. I got to check it off my list. I got to do the thing. I'm not going to eat past 8 o'clock at night, and I'm going to make sure I have breakfast. I'm going to wake up at 5, and you're going to set all the rules and try to force the behavior, but you're
Yeah.
not getting at the things underneath. And the whole approach of slowing down is part of the secret. It's also in the process, right? It's that I was able to hold space for you. You felt completely comfortable, that there you could be honest and truthful and really work through your shit without faking it or feeling like I can't really talk about this because then that's just going to prolong your healing. So the safe space is also a huge part of it too. So,
Yep.
yeah.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
So, is there anything you'd like to share with any woman who is like, I want to do the work, I'm scared to do the work, whatever their hang up is about doing something so radically different, like a course like this, especially if they haven't invested in themselves before like this on this level, whether that's like the resources of money or the time, like what would you say to them?
Ooh. Um, I think that first of all, it isn't for everybody. I mean, if you're not ready, like you said before, if you're not really ready for it, okay. But if there's anything that I said in this interview that you can go, yep, I understand that, or yes, I've been there, or whatever. Or even when you've done the roadmap to food freedom, if there's anything in roadmap to food freedom that you're like, no one's ever said that before. It's a completely different perspective, but it's for people to grow in a different way than anybody's ever said before. So if you identify with any of the things that I've said or that you've seen in Roadmap to Food Freedom, this is definitely the next right step. And I understand it not that it's not free always, but it's valid. It's a valid, important thing that I think I know that um I don't have like tons of cash. that's extra, but I put this all in the bucket for me. So when I did that, it didn't force me to do anything. It felt so right. It felt so necessary that I was like, no, I'm gonna not buy an extra pair of pants. I don't know. It's like I budgeted it for me because of it was so important. It was the only thing out there that I've ever seen that is possibly even close to what I needed. So if you identify with any of those things, I highly recommend you doing it. It's hard to tell people how to spend their money though, you know what I mean? It's like
Sure,
if
sure.
you really can't afford it, you shouldn't.
I
If you
say that
really
all the
can't afford it,
time.
please feed your kids.
Yes, I say that all the time. I want nothing to do with you being financially strapped. I want nothing to do with that. I'm like, I'm here when you're ready. Like,
Yeah.
so I think the advice that you gave there on the back end, I think was so beautiful and eloquent and so needed to be said. And I think that's solid advice. You've got to be ready. You have to understand the value of something like that, something like this, and that, when is it time for you to say, okay, I'm ready to look even at my budget. Where do I put money in all these other places? I mean, I remember going through the budget when I was like in college. A friend sat down with me and she's like, Dana, you're spending $100 a month on lattes. And I was like, I am? I was like,
or like streaming things that you don't actually watch. I'm like, oh my God. I put
yeah.
money in the things I don't use all the time.
You better believe that awareness of that behavior. Listen, I love me a good latte every once in a while, but that really motivated me to be like, nope, that's not where I want to spend my money. Like
Mhm.
I actually, it woke me up to like, hold up, because now I have these other things that are important to me and I'd rather put it here. So I think it's just the awareness, right? We're talking all about the awareness of the next step and what you're ready to do and taking your power back for making your own decisions. Because I also feel that this is not to convince anyone to do. This is
Mhm.
here. I have this offer. I have this amazing program. We have these amazing women in the program. It has to call to you, like it really has to feel like, oh, wow, I feel like I could belong there. And this is speaking to me. And if that is happening to you, that's what happened with Mandy. And trust that process. If you want to trust yourself with food, tap into that part where, oh, this feels like a yes, this feels like, oh, not right now. So I think that was really solid advice. So thank you for sharing that. And
Okay.
yeah, and I know Mandy's in our Facebook group and in like the Roadmap to Food Freedom and on Facebook and all of that good stuff. And I always ask my clients if anyone has any questions about it or had questions about your story, are they able to reach out to you and ask
Mhm.
any questions?
Sure.
Yeah.
Go
Awesome.
for it.
Awesome. Yeah.
I'm
Mandy's
here.
pretty much an open book. I mean, she's
I am almost too much, but
I love it. I don't think you're too much. You're never too much for me. I can
good.
handle it. I can handle it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much for being so open and sharing your story. And it's so exciting to see how far you've come and to witness it and to see how you're finding your own way. Like I love some of the own discoveries you've had about like, I don't need to wake up at 5 or I don't need to follow this formula. So that's the thing I really want you to get. The mindset course is a guide for you to unlock your best life. It's not Dana's formula. It's a way for you to formulate your own way of what's going to make you happy and where you're going to find the peace. So it's not just another rule book to follow. So, and Mandy was a testament to that today in our interview.
Mhm.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Love you to pieces.
Love you
Okay,
too.
so if you have any questions or, want to move forward with the mentorship, realfit.tv/mentorship, and we'd love to have you. All right. Thank you so much. All right. Bye.
Bye.